The front door slammed open so hard it felt like a shotgun blast. The sound ricocheted down the hallway, making every picture frame tremble. One of them, a photo of my family, tilted, barely clinging to the nail. And then she appeared. A woman in her 50s stormed in like a hurricane wearing heels. Her blazer shimmered under the afternoon sun, and a gold HOA president pin glinted on her chest like some twisted badge of authority. Her name was Karen Thompson, and she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. "This is the third violation this month," she screamed, voice sharp as broken glass. "Your grass is too tall, your garbage cans were visible for 37 minutes past pickup, and that mailbox," she jabbed her clipboard through the air like a weapon, "is a complete eyesore." I froze. My coffee cup hovered halfway to my lips. My brain was trying to catch up to the fact that a total stranger had just walked into my home. She strutted through my kitchen like she owned the place, running a finger across my countertop, inspecting for dust. She opened my refrigerator, wrinkling her nose like a queen disgusted by common food. Then she turned, eyes full of authority she didn't have. "Excuse me," I said, voice level and steady. "You need to leave. Now." She swung around dramatically, her bleached hair flipping over her shoulder like she'd rehearsed it. "I am Karen Thompson, president of the Willowbrook HOA," she declared, "and I have every right to inspect this property for compliance." That's when my instincts, 2 decades of police work, kicked in. My tone changed. Calm. Controlled. "Ma'am," I said evenly, "you just committed a felony. 3 weeks earlier, I'd moved into this quiet suburban neighborhood, hoping for peace. After 20 years on the force, detective, major crimes division, I was done with chaos. I wanted barbecues, slow mornings, the sound of sprinklers instead of sirens. The first day I moved in, neighbors waved, kids rode bikes, everything looked peaceful. Then came Karen. She approached with a clipboard, and that smile people use when they're about to ruin your day politely. "Welcome to Willowbrook," she chirped. "I'm the HOA president. Just a few things you'll need to fix immediately." The mailbox? 2 inches too low. The driveway? Contaminated by an invisible oil stain. She even claimed my American flag was the wrong shade of blue. The neighbors had warned me. "That's just Karen," one said with a sigh. "She's been president 5 years. Thinks she's running a military base?" I smiled. I'd dealt with standoffs, criminals, even politicians. One HOA president couldn't be worse, but she was. At first, it was just notes on my door, reminders about lawn height, warnings about garbage bins. Then came the barbecue, a Saturday evening, a few friends, classic rock playing low, burgers on the grill. It wasn't a party, it was peace. Until 6:30 p.m., Karen showed up uninvited, tape measure in hand. She marched to the fence, lips pursed. 4.7 feet, she announced triumphantly. "Regulations require 5. My guests went silent. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. After that, the harassment evolved into something darker. Typed notes appeared daily in all caps. "Your hedges are asymmetrical." "Your doormat is not regulation brown." "Your car was parked facing the wrong way." It was constant. I started finding flash photos on my motion sensors, taken at night. Karen had been photographing my property through the fence, sometimes from a ladder. When I confronted her, she said she was documenting architectural inconsistencies. Her obsession wasn't about neighborhood beauty, it was about power. Weeks passed. I ignored her, hoping she'd lose interest. Then one morning, a neighbor knocked on my door. "You should see this," he said quietly, handing me his phone. On the screen was a Facebook group called Willowbrook Watchdogs. Profile photo. Karen, smiling proudly. Pinned post, new resident violating multiple HOA codes. The photos were doctored, my grass made to look brown, my mailbox dented. She'd even added fake timestamps to imply neglect. The comments were merciless. That's when I realized this wasn't a quirky neighbor. This was targeted harassment, digital and deliberate. I tried to stay calm. I'd seen what escalation leads to. But then came the day she crossed the line. It was a warm afternoon, the kind where cicadas hum and time slows down. I was in the backyard fixing warped fence boards, noise-canceling headphones on, classic rock humming. I didn't hear the front door open. I didn't hear her shoes on the tile. Karen had been watching, waiting for her chance. She saw me step outside and noticed the door was unlocked. To her, that wasn't coincidence. It was opportunity. She slipped in like a thief, quiet, deliberate, clipboard in hand. 45 minutes later, I walked in from the backyard, sweaty, tired, ready for a drink, and froze. Karen stood at my dining table, piles of my mail and bills spread before her like evidence. She was photographing everything: my calendar, notes, even a birthday card for my mother. Drawers were open. My laptop had been moved. "Karen," I said, voice low, steady, controlled. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" She straightened, clutching her clipboard. "I'm conducting a lawful inspection," she said. "You've been reported for multiple violations, and I have the authority." "You have no authority here," I cut in, pulling out my phone to record. "You just committed trespassing, breaking and entering, and maybe theft," I told her. She scoffed, laughing that brittle, superior laugh only certain people master. "Don't be ridiculous. The HOA charter gives me full inspection rights." I smiled coldly. "Show me. Show me where it says you can enter someone's home without permission." Her fingers trembled as she flipped through her papers. "It's implied," she muttered. "Let me show you something that's not implied," I said, reaching into my wallet. When I flipped open the leather case, her eyes widened. The color drained from her face. "Detective James Morrison," I said quietly. 20 years on the force. "You're a cop?" she whispered. 20 years, I confirmed. "And that camera in the corner?" I pointed. "It's been recording since the moment you barged in." Her eyes darted to the living room, the kitchen. "And the one by the front door caught you entering, without permission." Her clipboard slipped from her hands. "This is a misunderstanding," she pleaded. "I thought I heard you say, 'Come in.'" I raised an eyebrow. "Through my noise-canceling headphones? That's impressive hearing, Karen." I started dialing. "Dispatch, this is Detective Morrison, badge number 4729. I need units at my residence for a burglary in progress. Suspect is still on scene." Her knees buckled. She fell into a chair. "Please," she begged. "I have a reputation. I run a real estate agency. This will ruin me." "You should have thought about that before you broke into someone's home," I said calmly. The sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Karen's eyes widened. "Wait, we can fix this. I'll leave. We'll forget it happened." I shook my head. "That's not how crime works, Karen." 2 officers arrived, Martinez and Allen, both solid men I'd worked with before. I explained everything, showed them the footage. Martinez's jaw tightened as he watched Karen rifling through my mail. He turned to her. "Ma'am, stand up and put your hands behind your back." Her panic boiled over. "You can't arrest me. I know the mayor. My husband's a lawyer." "None of that matters," Martinez said firmly, pulling out his cuffs. "You're under arrest for criminal trespass and unlawful entry." The metallic click echoed like a gavel striking justice. Karen's fury melted into humiliation. Tears streaked her face as she sputtered, "It's his word against mine." I held up my phone. Actually, it's your actions against video evidence. They led her outside. The neighborhood was awake now. People on porches, some recording, some smiling. Mrs. Chen from 2 doors down started clapping. Bob across the street lifted his beer in salute. The woman who'd terrorized them for years was finally getting what she deserved. The district attorney's office didn't take long. The footage was clear. The witnesses reliable. Karen Thompson, self-proclaimed Queen of Willowbrook, was charged with criminal trespass, unlawful entry, and attempted identity theft for photographing my documents. Potential sentence, 3 years, $25,000 fine. Her lawyer husband tried to negotiate a deal, but the prosecutor wasn't interested. Not for someone who'd harassed half the neighborhood. 2 months later, she stood in court. Same posture, no clipboard. The judge read the charges slowly. 1 year probation, $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service. The courtroom was silent. Karen wept quietly, shoulders shaking. Her once commanding voice reduced to whispers. But her punishment didn't end there. The HOA board held an emergency meeting that very night. Every member voted her out unanimously. Neighbors took turns recounting years of harassment, tape measures, notes, intimidation. The next day, her real estate agency fired her. Too much bad press to ignore. A week later, the newspaper headline hit the front page. HOA president arrested for breaking into officer's home. Her mugshot said it all. Gone was the proud, self-righteous expression. What stared back was someone small, defeated, and exposed. The neighborhood changed after that. People smiled again. Kids played without being scolded for sidewalk chalk. Even the lawns looked brighter, like the grass itself was relieved. One evening, Mrs. Chen stopped by with cookies. "Detective," she said with a grin, "thank you for doing what the rest of us couldn't." I laughed softly. Just doing my job. Old habits die hard. When I sat on my porch that night, the air was quiet. The kind of quiet I'd been searching for since I left the force. I thought about Karen, her obsession with control, and how easily it all collapsed. In the end, she didn't just break into a house, she broke into her own downfall. Justice doesn't always knock politely. Sometimes, it kicks the door wide open.